I have tricks in my pocket, and I have things up my sleeve. But I am the opposite of the stage magician. He gives you illusion that has the appearance of truth, and I give you truth in the pleasant disguise of illusion. I take you back to an alley in St. Louis, the time, that quaint period when the huge middle class of America was matriculating from a school for the blind. Their eyes had failed them, or they had failed their eyes, and they were living their life having their finger forcibly pressed down on the fiery Braille alphabet or dissolving a corner. In Spain there was revolution. Here there was only shouting, confusion, and labor disturbances, sometimes violent. In otherwise peaceful cities like Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit. That is the social background of this play. This play is memory. Being a memory play, it is dimly lighted, it is sentimental, and it is not realistic. In memory, everything seems to happen to music. That explains the fiddling wings. Now, I'm a character in this play, and I'm also the narrator husband. The other characters, my mother, Amanda, my sister, Laura, and a gentleman caller who only appears in the final scene. He is the most realistic character in the play, being an emissary from a world that we are somehow set apart from. But having a poet's weakness for symbols, I'm using this character as a symbol, as a long-delayed but always expected something that we live for. There is a fifth character in the play who appears in a photograph hanging on the wall. When you see this grinning gentleman, please remember this is our father who left us long ago. A telephone man who fell in love with long distance. He gave up his job at the telephone company, skipped the life fantastic out of town. Last we heard from him was a picture postcard from the Pacific coast of Mexico, containing a message of 2 words. Hello, goodbye, and no address.
You know, Laura, I had the funniest experience in church last Sunday. Oh, the church was crowded, except for one pew way down in front, and in that was just one little woman. I smiled very sweetly at her and said, "Excuse me, would you mind if I shared this pew?" "I certainly would," she said. "This space is rented." Do you know that is the first time that I ever knew that the Lord rented space? These Northern Episcopalians. I can understand the Southern Episcopalians, but the Northern Episcopalians? No. Honey, don't push your food with your fingers. If you have to push your food with something, the thing to use is a crust of bread. You must chew your food. Animals have secretions in their stomach which enable them to digest their food without mastication, but human beings must chew their food before they swallow it down. And chew, chew. Eat leisurely. Eat leisurely. A well-cooked meal has many delicate flavors which have to be held in the mouth for appreciation, not just gulped down. Chew, 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 chew. Don't you want to give your salivary glands a chance to function?
Mother, I have not been able to enjoy one bite of my dinner because of your constant direction on how to eat it. you that makes me hurry through my meals with your hawk-like attention to every bite I take. It's disgusting. All this discussion of salivary glands, animal secretions, mastication.
Temperament like a metropolitan star. You're not excused from this table.
I'm getting a cigarette.
You smoke too much. Mother, I'll bring the coffee. No. You sit down. Keep yourself fresh and pretty. It's almost time for our gentlemen's house to start arriving. How do you suppose we'll be having this afternoon?
I'm not expecting any gentlemen callers.
Well, the nice thing about them is they come when you least expect it. Why, I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain when your mother was a girl.
I know what's coming now.
Yes, but let her tell it.
Again?
She loves to tell it.
I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain when your mother was a girl. She received 17 gentlemen callers. Sometimes there weren't chairs enough for us to accommodate them all, and we had to send the colored boy out to the parish house to fetch the folding chairs.
How did you entertain all those gentlemen callers?
I happen to understand the art of conversation.
Oh, I bet you could talk.
Well, I could. All the girls in my day could, I tell you.
Yeah.
They knew how to entertain their gentlemen callers. It wasn't enough that a girl be possessed of a pretty face and a graceful figure, although I wasn't lacking in either respect. She also needed to have a nimble wit and a tongue to meet all occasions.
Well, what did you talk about?
We talked about things of importance going on in the world. Never anything common, of course, or vulgar. My callers were gentlemen on. Some of the most prominent men on the Mississippi Delta. Planters and sons of planters. There was young Champ Laughlin. He later became vice president of the Delta Planters Bank. And Hadley Stevenson, he was drowned in Moon Lake. My goodness, he certainly left his widow well provided for. $150,000 in government bonds. And the Couture brothers, Wesley and Bates. Bates was one of my own bright particular beaux, but he got in a quarrel with that wild Wainwright boy, and they shot it out on the left floor of Moon Lake Casino. Bates was shot through the stomach. He died in the ambulance on the way to Memphis. My goodness, he certainly left his widow well provided for, too. 8 or 10,000 acres, no less. He never loved that woman. She just caught him on the rebound. My picture was found on him the night he died. Oh, and that boy that every girl in the Delta was setting her cap for, that brilliant, beautiful young Fitzhugh boy from Greene County.
What did he leave his widow?
He never married. What's the matter with you? You talk as if all my old admirers have turned their toes up to the daisies.
Isn't he the first one you mentioned that still survives?
He made an awful lot of money. He went up north to Wall Street, made a fortune. That boy had the Midas touch. Everything he touched just turned to gold. And I could have been Mrs. J. Duncan Fitzhugh, mind you. What'd I do? I just went out of my way and picked your father.
Mother, let me clear the table.
No. You go out front and study your typewriter chart. Or practice your shorthand. Keep yourself fresh and pretty for the gentlemen callers. It's almost time for them to start arriving. How many do you suppose will be entertaining this afternoon?
I don't believe we're going to receive any, Mother.
Not any? Not one? Oh, you must be joking. Not any gentleman called us. What happened? Was there a flood? Or a tornado?
There isn't a flood. There wasn't a tornado, Mother. I'm just not popular like you were in Blue Mountain. Mother's afraid I'm going to become an old maid.
She said, I remember her.
just went walking.
That's not true.
Yes, it is, Mother. I just went walking.
Walking. Walking. In winter. Deliberately caught pneumonia in that light coat. Where did you walk to, Laura?
All sorts of places. Mostly the park.
Even after you started catching that cold.
It was the lesser of two evils, Mother. I couldn't go back there. I threw up on the floor.
From 7:30 until after 5 every single day. You mean to tell me you walked around in the park to make me think you were still going to business college?
Mother, it wasn't as bad as it sounds. I went inside places and got warmed up.
Inside where?
I visited the art museum and the birdhouses at the zoo. I visited the penguins every day. Some days I went without lunch and just went to the movies. But lately I've been spending most of my time at the jewel box. You know that big glass house where they raise the tropical flowers?
You did all that for deception. Just to deceive me? Why?
Mother, when you're disappointed, you get that awful suffering look on your face. Just like the picture of Jesus' mother in the museum. Hush. I couldn't face it, Mother. I just couldn't.
What are we going to do now? The rest of our lives. Just sit down here in this house and watch the parades go by? Amuse ourselves with the glass menagerie. Eternally play those worn-out records your father left us as a painful reminder of him? We can't have a business career. No, we can't do that. That just gives us indigestion. What else is left for us but dependency all our lives? I tell you, Laura, I know so well what happens to unmarried women who aren't prepared to occupy a position in life. Oh, I've seen such pitiful cases of it in the South. Barely tolerated spinsters living off some brother's wife or a sister's husband, tucked away in some little mousetrap of a room. Encouraged by one in-law to go on and visit the next in-law. Little bird-like women without any nest, eating the crust of humility all their lives. Is that future we backed out for ourselves? I swear, I don't see any other alternative. I don't think that's a very pleasant alternative.
Of course. Some girls do marry.
Oh my goodness, Laura. Haven't you ever liked some boy?
Yes, Mother, I liked one once.
You did?
I came across his picture a while ago.
He gave you his picture too.
No, it's in the yearbook.
Oh. A high school boy.
His name was Jim. Oh, here he is in the Pirates of Penzance.
The what?
The operetta the senior class put on. I remember what a beautiful voice he had. I sat across the aisle from him in the auditorium Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Oh, and here he is with the silver cup for debating. See his grin?
So he had a grin too.
He used to call me Blue Roses.
Blue Roses. What did he call you such a silly name like that for?